I think they first realised there was something wrong with me when I used to lock myself away in my room for long periods of time. I mean, I wasn't actually quite sure I was drawn as a child anyway, but, you know, I became more detached from the people that cared for me, I suppose, more untrusting. I didn't feel I had anything in common with my friends and family anymore. You know, I felt like I couldn't express my feelings and thoughts well enough to be understood. I couldn't communicate, and I suppose that's why I shut myself in. You know, locked myself away. I can't remember any dramatic changes in my personality or behaviour. I mean, it was more of a gradual thing. I used to spend hours at a time trying to make sense of all my muddled thoughts. You know, there's no apparent reason why I felt the way I did. I just couldn't think straight. I mean, my whole outlook on my surroundings and the people within them changed. I became paranoid. You know, everyone seemed different somehow. Like when people spoke, whether to me or just around me in general, I would decipher their speech as deliberate attempts at mind control. You know, I think it was the way that people spoke, the words that came out of their mouths. I couldn't stand listening to or watch people speak, you know. It was the way they looked as well, like a glance or a stare from the wrong person at the wrong time. You know, it would make me feel they were out to get me. You know, I couldn't understand why everyone would change. And I became afraid of people in a way. I felt like a target. I can remember withdrawn to my room completely, you know. It was the only place where I felt safe. I mean, I'd overhear what I thought were their conversations held from beneath the floorboards. The muffled sounds became kind of like a manifested jumble of paranoia that attacked my thoughts and persecuted me. You know, the sounds and noises made by the cars and planes passing my house took on secret and deliberate meanings. You know, I thought they were trying to get me, get inside my head. You know, I'd often argue fiercely with the voices that I heard. You know, they torment me day and night. Things inside my head would gear up a notch. There's nothing I could do to dull the roar in my brain. I mean, initially, I never knew I was unwell. I mean, it's not something you'd associate with an illness. And I couldn't tell the differences between reality and my own nightmares anymore. I think that's what's hard for people to understand. I mean, I'd often filter between different states of mind, you know, from my paranoid delusions to deep depression. Sometimes I would remember, but, you know, sometimes I'd forget. It became a threat, not only to myself, but to those near me, you know. I just couldn't cope anymore. Everything built up, and that's when I was assessed and diagnosed as a schizophrenic. To me, caring the community meant, you know, having to leave the place that had been my home for 12 of the 15 years I spent there. You know, its closure meant being sent back to the place that had kept me locked away. I mean, I can remember the long journey to the asylum. All I could see were the white lines on the road, you know. I mean, I was restrained in a straitjacket to help calm my aggressive bursts. I mean, I was petrified. You know, I kind of felt like a caged animal with no escape. I mean, I never asked for my illness. You know, I felt I was being punished for no reason. You know, I'd lost everything. And when I arrived to the hospital, you know, I became even more paranoid, and I was placed under 24-hour observation. But my symptoms got worse. You know, I began to hallucinate more intensely, and the constant delusions that I had continued. And I was placed into a cell in the hope to control my symptoms, you know. I mean, I can remember feeling really suicidal at one point. I just wanted to escape, but there was no way out. I mean, eventually, my condition was subdued, you know, with large doses of medication. I mean, they controlled my symptoms, but I still suffered from major side effects, you know, like my muscles became rigid and my vision was constantly blurred. And I slept initially for 20 hours a day. But it seemed that my positive symptoms, you know, like hallucinations and delusions had subsided, but my so-called negative symptoms, like lack of motivation and depression, actually got worse through taking the medication. was placed onto a ward where the inpatients surrounded me, some in straitjackets, some having animated conversations with themselves, listening to the voices I couldn't hear. My whole daily routine was planned out for me. I'd sometimes feel that I was on a conveyor belt of events and medication, but it was as if my life had some kind of structure to it. It gave me something to hold on to, kind of like a lifeline. And after a while I started to participate in therapy sessions, and attend daily workshops run by the hospital. And I began to realise that I suffered from a severe mental illness, and I knew that with long-term treatment I could actually function as relatively normal, or as normal as I could do with my condition. But I knew that I never would be completely cured. It's hard. But society doesn't want to deal with people like me. That's why I was sent to the asylums in the first place. That's the whole reason they were built. To keep us out of sight, out of mind. No one was treated as an individual. I don't think we were actually considered as human beings by some of the nursing staff, but, obviously there were some that generally cared for us. After a while I became used to my surroundings, I became comfortable, or as well as I could do with my condition. The community surrounding the asylum didn't want to know, but we had our own community, that excluded them. And after a time I'd become institutionalised, I built a whole new life for myself around my illness, a new life without any of the outside influences that affected me. I was placed into a rehabilitation program that was a step-by-step introduction back into the community outside the asylum confines, preparing me to become a useful and productive member of the community at large. They made me more aware about dealing with schizophrenia, within a new environment and taking each day as it comes. But I felt rushed. I didn't feel ready to enter the uncertainty of community life, No one asked me what I wanted. Why should I have to leave the protective and sheltered community that was actually created for me in hospital? Society doesn't want us back. I personally believe that my discharge from hospital has been effective in lowering the quality of my life. I had learned to think of that place as home. I was released back into the community aged 30. I was initially placed into a specially equipped care home to help integrate me into the community, but I felt rushed. I didn't receive any adequate level of support or interaction with healthy members of society. And it's hard just to let go under those circumstances. I spent 6 months finishing off my rehabilitation back in society, and that's when they decided I should be placed into accommodation of my own. I'm still taking my medication, but I still suffer from the negative symptoms. I feel isolated from society even more so now, more than ever. I find ordinary people are different, but not by nature, but by their different lifestyles. They have careers, cars, families, children, new clothes, everything that makes a normal person. It seems I live a very different lifestyle in my dingy council flat. Second-hand clothes and watching the cars drive past my window. Ordinary people march to a different beat. I feel uncomfortable with ordinary people. I can't socialise. Care and community and my illness have isolated me. And I feel that I've lost. And I can relapse at any time.